Now, another example is, let's say now I have this function definition that generates a random ID, which I can then pass to the other modules. So let's see. So now each of the modules can have something called your ID, and the value will be the return value of this function call. Now, when you pass it like this, index 2 will get access to that exporter 1, right? But if you look, they get the number, but they don't get the definition. So they don't know how your algorithm works, right? So this is one way that you can protect your function definitions, but still be able to call them and pass the return value somewhere else. Okay, so what is the main point of module pattern? Well, the main point is every module is assigned to a variable like this and wrapped in an immediately invoked function. And the return value is always an object with whatever information you want to pass inside. But what is the problem with this? Well, the problem is you're still creating extra global variables that you don't want to do, right? Because exporter 1 is global. Index 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be able to use it. If you have exporter 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's going to clutter up a lot, right? This is better than before, but still not good enough. So the way that this was improved was they created the import-export system in ES6, right? This system will then guarantee that each index.js or module will have their own scope of variables, and you can still share them via import-export. Now, the way that this works underneath the hood is that they have to call C and C++ functions. Because remember, JavaScript only runs in the browser. If JavaScript does something else that's not in the browser, it has to call an internal C++ function. Yeah. And to do import-export properly, you need to mess with the memory and talk to the pointers and all that good stuff. Yeah. All right. In the next video, we're going to go over ES6 type module pattern. Okay, I'll see you then. Okay, let's talk about how the module pattern works before ES6, and then in the next video, we'll talk about why the one in ES6 is actually better. So first of all, what is the goal of the module pattern? First of all, the goal is to prevent a bunch of global name variables crashing into each other, right? If you have const num is equal to 1 in this module, and in module 2, index2.js, you have const num is equal to 10,000 or whatever, you're going to see that, hey, this has already been declared. And by the way, if you have a bunch of scripts in your HTML like this, all it really means is that it's taking all of your other scripts and it's just pasting it on the first script. Okay, so this is exactly what it does. Okay, one other way that the module pattern works is because it takes advantage of function scope. Okay. So you can pretend that each index.js or each module is its own function, like this, right? Since inside of the function, you have your own scope, you can do const num is equal to 1 here, and then num is equal to 2 here, and it would still work. But what's the problem with this? Well, this is fine when it's taking care of the scope problem, but the scope problem also gives you another problem. What if you have const password is equal to 1 to 3, and you want to share this password with your other modules? Now, in ES6, we have import-export, okay? But how do we do it without that? Because that's how we did it before ES6, okay? So this is the real way that we would implement module pattern. So let's do const exporter 1. And I call it exporter 1 because this variable will hold an object that has all the values that we want to export or share with the other modules. Okay, so it's going to be needing an immediately invokes function definition inside, and then remember to call it on the outside like this. Okay, so now const password 1, 2, 3, const string is equal to hello. Let's do function my name and this is console.logs Philip. Okay, so we want to be able to pass all of these variables to all of our other modules. And since this is an immediately invoked function, whatever you return inside of this function will be assigned to the exporter1 variable. So we're going to return an object to take advantage of this. Password, string, and my name. Okay. So now in this module, if we console.log exporter1, let's see what we see. See, we get access to all of that because once again, exporter1 is a global variable. Now, this can also be able to hide information if needed. What if you don't want to share the password, right? You just don't import it or export it like this. Okay. So now in module 2, there's no way that they can get the password, right? They cannot access this function even if they type in exporter1 because exporter1 being an iffy just returns this object. It cannot get the password. Okay, but now what if I do exporter1 dot string is now equal to something that's a number, 5,000, and then I'm going to console.log it again. Okay, so now how do we prevent them from changing that? Right, well, instead of returning an object, I'll cut this out. I'll do object.freeze, and then I'll just pass in that object. Okay, so now even if we try to change it, and then we console.log it again, you see that it doesn't change.